Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh, and this is your stimulus check update for the next stimulus package for Sunday, October 25th. I hope everyone is off to a good and safe start to their Sunday so far. In this video, I'll be discussing updates in regard to the next relief package and the second stimulus check. I'll also be discussing unemployment, what the two sides are saying about passing the next relief package before the election, and then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly liking this video, give me a big thumbs up. It really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other viewers like you, and hopefully helping other people like you as well. Okay, so as stimulus negotiations continue making little progress, Kevin O'Leary took aim once again at sending out another round of stimulus payments to American families. In his opinion, a second round of stimulus payments are not useful and that they are very blunt instruments. O'Leary went on to explain that stimulus should be targeted towards people who are unemployed and need the funds rather than a blanket check mailed out to everyone in the country, most of whom are still employed. O'Leary went on to say that airline industries should not be bailed out either. He explained that, quote, "Even if tomorrow there's a vaccine and you could inoculate the entire population, most businesses have figured out they can spend 20% less on business travel because they have technologies like the one we're using right now to communicate with customers." O'Leary went on to say, "And so the airline industry is very underfavored. Why bail out zombie businesses? Airlines go out of business all the time. Let them go bankrupt and let the weaker airlines be managed by the stronger ones after the asset transfer." So it seems as if O'Leary is much more in favor of a stronger unemployment stimulus rather than sending out checks or bailing out different companies. With that said, do you agree with O'Leary about stimulus checks being useless because many people receiving them are employed once again? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. In stimulus related news, and not much of a surprise, it seems like lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have all but given up on the next relief package passing before the election. Senate Appropriations Chairman Richard Shelby said that even though he had been in recent talks with Steven Mnuchin and his Democratic counterpart, House Appropriations Chair Nita Lowey, the likelihood of anything passing would be slim before the election. Senator John Thune of South Dakota also cast doubt on the possibility of the next relief package passing before the election. Thune said, quote, "There could be an agreement, and I wouldn't say that's outside the realm of possibility, but I think in terms of trying to process it mechanically across the House to the floor and the Senate and get it passed, I'd say the odds would be long of that." Then, of course, we have the majority leader in the Senate, Mitch MCConnell, who told his conference at a closed-door lunch to resist any deal with Pelosi before November 3rd. The reason for this resistance, of course, is the fact that McConnell and other Republican senators view this impending deal between Mnuchin and Pelosi as more of a partisan deal on the Democratic side of things. They believe that Mnuchin is being absolutely run over by Pelosi in negotiations, giving in on everything that she wants, and not getting any of the key things that they would like, such as liability protections for business owners. So with less and less chances of any type of relief package passing before the election, what does that mean as far as the extension of the unemployment benefits, a second round of stimulus checks, and other key benefits go? Well, for one, the impact of who wins this election may or may not play a huge difference. Some people argue, especially on the left, that if Joe Biden wins the election and the Democrats take over the majority control of the Senate, they could then pass a bigger relief package through. And, well, even though that may be easier, that's not even exactly true. Even if they do flip the Senate, as long as the Republicans have at least 41 seats, which they will, they could use the filibuster to block any bill from passing. So either way, whether it's Joe Biden in office or Donald Trump in office, any relief package will have to be bipartisan. So this is where our lawmakers need to start asking themselves, would we rather work out a deal now in late October, early November, and make sure American families receive the aid they've desperately been seeking for months now? Or should we make them continue to struggle and give them the aid 3 months later when it's possibly too late for some people? I mean, it's not rocket science, and you would think these elected officials would be able to figure this one out. But I guess not. Nancy Pelosi does remain optimistic about another relief package passing before the election, noting that if President Trump wanted something to pass, they could get it done. Of course, that would also mean Trump giving in to the rest of Pelosi's demands, which is pretty unlikely to happen. Also, the same exact thing could be said that if Nancy Pelosi wanted another relief package before the election, one could be had if she wanted to as well. If she agreed to what was on the table right now, we would have a deal most likely, and we're talking about a deal that will garner more votes from Democrats than Republicans. So if that says anything, that we would more than likely see more Democrats approve what Mnuchin's most recent offer was than what Republicans would, it would say that it's a friendlier offer for the Democrats. When you have members of the Democrat Party such as Ro Khanna pleading with Pelosi to just take the deal, you know that it can't be all that bad. With American families struggling, we can't continue just to sit around, bicker, point fingers, and blame the other side for their inaction. It's time for them to talk less, act more, and get a deal done for the Americans. It's time for our lawmakers to prove just why we elected them into office and why they should be able to stay there. Enough is enough. In unemployment news, we are still now just waiting on one state in Alaska to begin sending out benefits to their residents from the Lost Wages Assistance Program. Now, it is expected that residents in this state should begin receiving their payments at some point next week. If you live in one of the other states and you still haven't received the $300 federal plus up yet, make sure that you're earning at least $100 in state unemployment insurance benefits, and also make sure that you certify for the benefits through your unemployment insurance portal. Now, if you meet both of those standards, then I would recommend calling your state's unemployment phone number to let them know so they can make sure that you receive your payments. With that said, since the other states have already exhausted all their funding from these benefits, we will have to wait until Congress can get their act together to pass another bill to extend these benefits on a longer term, more stable basis. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to move right along to answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you do have any other comments or questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to answer as many of the comments and questions as I possibly can, but for those comments and questions I'm not able to respond to, I do try to pick some of the more popular ones to answer in the next video in video form. Okay, so without further ado, let me go ahead and jump into the first comment of today's video, which is from Gloria. Gloria says, if people age 17 years and older receive a stimulus check, will it be $1,200 as an adult or $1,000 as a dependent? Thank you so much for your question, Gloria. And if people are 17 years and older but claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax returns, then they'll receive either $500 or $1,000 depending on the amount that they decide on. Now, if they weren't claimed as a dependent, then they would receive the full $1,200. Okay, moving right along to the next question of today's video, which is from Lori. Lori says, hello Josh, I need some advice. I still haven't received my unemployment from Virginia, and I have tried to call, but they are not answering the phone, so I am stuck. Thank you so much for your question, Lori, and I'm so sorry that you still haven't received your unemployment from Virginia. The first thing I'll say is to make sure that you're earning at least $100 in weekly state unemployment insurance benefits, because unfortunately, if you're not, then you won't be eligible for the $300 federal plus up. Now, if you are earning at least $100 in weekly state unemployment insurance benefits, then I would recommend that you go ahead and log into your state's unemployment portal to make sure that you've certified for these benefits. If you have already done so, then you should have definitely received your payment by now, so I would definitely just continue trying to contact them over the phone. If you try calling a little bit earlier in the day, you may find that you have more success, but if you don't, feel free to email me and I'll try to help you get in contact with them myself personally. You can find my email in the About section on my YouTube homepage next to Contacts. Okay, moving right along to the next question of today's video, which is from Marlon. Marlon says, hey Josh, there are still people waiting on the first stimulus check. Whatever happened? Okay, thank you so much for your question, Marlon. And if people still haven't received their first stimulus check, more than likely it's because the IRS still doesn't have their information. If you haven't filed a tax return within the last 2 years, or you started receiving Social Security benefits this year, then you'll need to use the non-filers tool by November 21st in order to receive your payment this year. Also, if someone claimed you as a dependent on one of their recent tax returns, then unfortunately, you will not be eligible to receive a stimulus payment. So if you know for sure that you weren't claimed as a dependent and you've already filled out the non-filers tool, then in the meantime, I would just continue checking the payment portal on the IRS website. That will be the best resource to continue checking to see when you'll receive your first payment. Also, if you'd like to call the IRS in regards to your first stimulus payment, you can most definitely do so at 1-800-919-9835, and the only recommendation that I would have for you is to call just a little bit earlier in the day just to avoid those longer hold times. Okay, moving right along to the last question of today's video, which is from Donnie. Donnie says, when are we going to get the second stimulus check? Thank you so much for your question, Donnie, and the timeline for the second stimulus check is still up in the air. Since the two sides are still working out disputes on funding for state and local government, as well as liability protections, they still have not come to an agreement on the next relief package. Once they do come to an agreement, if the bill passes the House, Senate, and is signed by President Trump, then stimulus checks should start going out in the next week or two after that. In the meantime, all we can continue to do is hang in there, stay strong, and hope for the best. Alright, so on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so, and it's a great support to me. Also, if you'd like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull, with both stocks valued all the way up to $1,600, please feel free to claim those 2 free stocks by clicking the link in the description box below. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.